Good morning, gang. Happy Wednesday morning. All right, so for any of you guys that cruise around Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you're familiar with all the memes that are out there. You know, that some of them are funny, some of them are just basically irritating. You know, it's like the incessant, so-and-so says if Donald Trump wins the election, they're going to leave the country. It's not funny anymore, okay? There's one that's been making the rounds lately, okay? And it's something like this. You find this on your front porch. What do you do? And I'm like, well, the one thing I'm not going to do is thank Joe Biden for it, okay? Say thank you, but I still ain't voting for Joe. It seems to be that the Biden campaign team has taken this meme and decided, hey, this is a great campaign idea. Let's see if we can do it. In other words, how can we buy votes? How can we find the stupidest people in the country and convince them to vote for us? Because after all, in order to vote Democrat, you've got to be a complete idiot, okay? You'd vote against your best interest in every election, okay? And we can go through countless examples, and I bet you can probably think of a few right now, all right? But this is the point. Joe is now hell-bent on buying votes. That's the only way he has a chance. As of current polls, and I know we can say whatever we want about polls, okay? You know, the polls said Hillary Clinton had a 99% chance of winning. Sure. Right now, the 7 swing states, Trump leads in every one of them. Granted, Pennsylvania and Wisconsin are close within the margin of error, but still, Trump leads in every one of them. News report came out yesterday. Trump now leads in New Hampshire. So Trump is starting to flip the non-traditional swing states. What happens when he starts flipping traditional blue ones? Okay, the American public is realizing that everything Joe touches turns to shit. So, Joe's ideas, let's come up with more ways to buy votes. So yesterday, we have 2 more attempts. Now, we know Joe is losing his ass in the millennial and Gen Z Zoomer demographic. You know, that was what basically propelled him, well, that and the cheating, to the White House in 2020. And Joe's losing that voting block big time, okay? So Joe came out yesterday and announced another $7.7 billion of a student debt handout for 160,000 people. Now, these are the people that are on the public loan or public service loan forgiveness, okay? Now, not that I'm going to disagree with some of that, okay? Because you join the military, yeah, okay. But this crap of go get a government job and we're going to forgive your loans, no, that's crap. Because, 95% of useless government employees anyway are Democrats. So Joe is handing out money to make sure that those people that work for him, for all intents and purposes, vote for him, okay? And then also, I forget what it is, somewhere around $1 billion or whatever it is, goes to this SAVE program, okay, the Saving for a Valuable Education. $7.7 billion. Guess who pays for that? You and me, okay? So what Joe, I mean, this isn't coming out of Joe's pockets. This comes out of tax money, which, oh, by the way, we spend twice the amount of money that we collect in taxes. You wonder why we're $34 trillion in debt. So Joe is doing whatever he can to make sure government employees, and the younger people. I mean, hopefully by the time you get to be retired, you don't still have student loans. Okay. But this is an attempt to buy votes. Okay. So then you get into Joe's other one that he pulled off yesterday. And again, we are getting into how are the people going to pay for it. I've said this before. Usually gas prices are the biggest indicator of whether an incumbent's going to win or not, okay? If gas prices are going up in the summer prior to an election, the incumbent usually loses. If gas prices are coming down, the incumbent usually wins. So Joe's brilliant idea, okay, is he's going to sell off the entire Northeast Gasoline Reserve. Okay, now mind you, the Northeast Gasoline Reserve was established back in 2014, right after Superstorm Sandy, and the whole Northeast was scrambling to buy gasoline to figure out where it was going to go. So we created the Northeast Gasoline Reserve. And it's 1 million barrels of gas. Joe is going to drain it completely, okay, sell it all to gas stations, basically, for all intents and purposes. I mean, obviously not, the little corner 7-Eleven's not buying it, but the companies that transport it will be the one to buy it. So Joe's going to sell it off, coming out specifically and saying, with the intention of dropping fuel prices. Now, conveniently, this is all supposed to be done by June 30th. So Joe has something to talk about on July 4th going, look, the prices are down. Remember, what was it last year? It's like, the price of a hot dog is down a penny or something like that. You know how we get that every year. So this is what Joe's going to talk about. He's going to sell the entire gasoline supply reserve, 1 million barrels. It's expected to bring in something like $1.25 billion. Just to give you an idea, that's about what we spend, the government spends, in 15 minutes. So we're going to take a safety net and liquidate it so we can save, maybe if we're lucky, a nickel at the gas pump. All right, put 20 gallons of gas in your car. You saved $1. Not that saving $1 isn't a good thing, okay, but this is not anything significant. So Joe's idea is it's worth giving us taking away our security to save $1 because it might help save his ass in November. You know who the biggest beneficiary of this is? China. Because China can look at this and go, this might be a good time to come into the United States. They can't even fuel anything. Now, mind you, this isn't crude oil. This is gasoline. This is already refined product. It's a lot cheaper to store crude oil than it is to store gasoline. But what are you going to do? Let's say another Superstorm Sandy comes through. Oh, I'm sorry, New York. Oh, I'm sorry, New Jersey. We just screwed you again. But you saved a nickel. Remember last summer? Yeah, okay. And Joe's going to be out touting, gas prices are down for the 4th of July. Yeah, our level of safety is down for the 4th of July too, okay? This guy is just completely losing his mind. He's doing whatever he can to buy votes. And there are enough foolish people who will go, oh my God, look, Joe's getting gas prices down. Gas prices are still, where we are today, 50% higher than they were when Trump left office. They have never, in Joe's tenure since day one, been less than they were when Trump left office. As soon as Joe took office, prices went up. Okay. So Joe is using your tax money to pay off kids' student loans, and Joe is using your security to dump our gas reserves. Do you see this? The only thing he is doing is using your assets, the stuff that you actually own, your tax dollars and your gasoline. Joe doesn't own that gas, okay? We do. It was paid for with our tax dollars. So he's selling off your assets to benefit him. Think about this. Would you let somebody, your next door neighbor, if you will, come into your house and have a garage sale so he can go buy a new car? That's what Joe's doing, okay? That's what people are failing to realize. We all think, oh, $7.7 billion, it's not that much. Start doing the math, okay, on how many people in this country. All right, you're talking $20 a person, and each one of us is paying just on this. It's all right. This has got to stop. The wastefulness of our government has got to stop. The first thing we need to do is get rid of Joe. The second thing we need to do is get rid of every damn Democrat and every rhino in Congress, in the State House, in your local government. And then what we need is not a balanced budget. We need a zero-sum budget that our governments, city, local, state, federal, can only spend the money that they take in. If they don't take in any more money, if they only take in $100 billion, they can only spend $100 billion. We need a constitutional amendment that prohibits the government from borrowing money, because we're borrowing money from the Chinese and our grandchildren, who are never going to be able, we're not going to be able to pay this back, but it's going to drastically affect their life. They are never going to be able to get forward. You hear all the stories these days on people going, oh my God, we can't afford a house. It's too expensive. And now you're getting, oh my God, we can't afford rent. It's too expensive. This is not because of corporate greed, like Joe talks about his greedflation bullshit. This is purely because of Bidenomics. Stealing from the rich, stealing from the middle class, stealing from the lower middle class, and giving to the poor. Or actually not even giving to the poor, giving to the left. They want feudalism, guys. There's no question. They want two sets of society, two groups in society, liberals and conservatives. They want to dominate. They want to own us. They want to take all the money from everybody, take all the assets, take all the housing, take all the land, take everything from people to benefit them. Joe and the Ho have got to go. Pinball out.